Squeegee Link Podcast, episode 27, with Gar from FlexPrint.ie. Hi, Gar.
Hi, how are you? I can hear you now.
Good. Brilliant. Yeah, you relaxed, you chill? Have you just come in from something horrendous?
You can probably see the sweat.
I had to powder myself because I've been sweating buckets. But...
Jesus, we're just off press. We had like a 300 piece order, but we were running both flashes, and we have a Panther dryer as well, and the Panther's like 400 degrees just all the time. So killer. We're done though, so it's a little bit cooler in here now. I'm out the front in the office, so a little bit cooler.
Cool. I tend to start by just saying, like, would you introduce yourself and say what your print shop, what do you call it, a print studio or just a screen printing?
It's probably I'd say a print shop is more. Yeah, we had a very small unit, kind of a little bit further down the road here, but since we moved up, we're even much bigger kind of spot here now, so it's bigger than a studio, but not quite a factory.
It's a shop now. Yeah, I like that term. I think it's from America. It seems to be.
It's definitely, yeah. I don't think I would have even ever called it a studio. It's definitely a shop. It's definitely like high production, like sweat shop, I'd say.
You've made your own little sweat
more
shop.
than a studio, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can you start by literally saying your name and what your studio is and like the type of work you do?
Okay, so my name is Gary. I own and run FlexPrint here in Navan in Ireland. Predominantly textile print and screen print. We do a little bit of heat transfer. We do a little bit of embroidery, but mainly screen print, mainly kind of high volume screen print.
So on your thing though, when you came in the room, were you called Gary? Is that short for Gary?
Yeah. So basically, I changed that about, I'd say 10 years ago. There's another guy in the town called Gary McDonough, and that
doesn't sound Irish. Like an Irish thing that would happen.
Like, you can't have two people in the town with the same name. So it was mainly down to my wife tagging us on Facebook. So she'd be tagging us out for dinner or somewhere, and it would be a different man.
Yeah.
So
you split up their relationship.
Yeah, just chopped off the Y. But everybody, like my grandparents, my mom, Gina, my wife, they all call me Gar. It's just a little bit of a stumbling block with the English accent. You sound a bit it's like Ga with English people, but over here it's more, you pronounce the R, Gar.
Well, just tell them to be a bit more piratey, and then say it right.
Yeah. Gar. Yeah. I didn't actually realize that was my name on Zoom either, so good to know.
Yeah. So something that I've just figured out is that the reason you're called, I don't know why you call FlexPrint, but the .ie, that's the Irish.
That's .co.uk, yeah. So
yeah,
our handle is our website, and kind of it works well. It works well, but we kind of changed that to FlexPrint Company recently. We went limited, so we kind of had to change from, we were FlexPrint and Design, and then we went to FlexPrint and Embroidery, and now we're a limited company, so we're FlexPrint Co.
Cool.
It sounds like we're hiding tax money.
No, it's just you just hit those kind of thresholds, and then you're kind of forced to, and sometimes it just makes business sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so like
our handle on most, on like social media and Facebook and everything, has always been FlexPrint. We just happened to be able to add the .ie when we bought the domain, so everything kind of went into one, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, and it's probably like good to differentiate you from the other FlexPrints, because there's some random like business office people in the UK.
This is a massive stumbling block as well. I don't know if you have it in the UK, there's a financing company here called Flexify.
Right.
So if you can spread payments, so you can like buy a Mac and spread your payments with Flexify. So everybody who comes into the shop is FlexiPrint. They call us FlexiPrint. That really gets up my nose. Yeah,
Gar.
Flexi, yeah. That's when the name comes out. No, flexi print, or people are ringing, they'll say flexi print, and we're past the point of even correcting people now. You're just like, yeah, sure. So we've tried it flex print, but I don't think we'll ever get away from flexi print.
That's just what you'll be in a few
But
years.
there are other companies, there are other companies called FlexPrint. There's one in America, I don't know what they do, and then there's one in the UK. I only realized this after we named the company, and even naming the company was a disaster. Like, we named it the night before I think we opened. We only called it FlexPrint because we used to predominantly print with flex, just vinyl. So it was like, kind of look around, what can you see? Flex. And yeah, so it's stuck. I've been trying to change it for years, but like, what's the point?
I know. It's not like, the be all and end all of it. So like, it sounds like you're going through quite a big growth spurt. Do you think you're like settled in your new place? Or
so like the new place, we're here nearly 7 years in this spot.
Oh, okay, it's quite long.
Maybe
a spurt now.
Maybe a little bit more, but we've definitely grown into the space. We originally, when we occupied the building, we originally had 4,000 square foot. We were using,
it's massive.
Yeah, it's huge, and we were paying for the whole lot, and we were paying for the rates and all of that. So just before lockdown, we gave back about 1,000 square foot of it, and we were only using it for storage. And we kind of cut a small bit of a deal with the landlord that our rent would kind of maintain the same kind of trajectory, wasn't going to get any dearer. But now we've run out of space and we need the 1,000 square foot back. But it's doubled in price from when we rented it.
Wow, that is savage. But then
but the price of everything in terms of like commercial rentals or purchasing is just gone crazy.
Am I right in thinking you're like only an hour away out of Dublin?
We're not even. Up the motorway, you're probably 40 minutes. You're only half an hour from North Dublin, and then city centre, you're probably 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes. So we're not too far.
Do you feel like you're in that kind of like incredibly pricey zone, like coming out of Dublin?
Not really. The town that we're in, would be kind of classed as a satellite or a commuter town for Dublin, because it's not that far. It's, do you know what I mean? You've got a lot of people who live here, work in Dublin, and the rent isn't really reflected too badly commercially here. You're not talking like we're on kind of one of the wouldn't be one of the main streets in the town, but it's a busy kind of road. It's got a lot of shop fronts on it, but we don't necessarily need our shop front. We just need production space. We actually closed our shop front off. We're trying to deter people away.
Brick it up.
We've a bell on the door now and everything. Like, the door's locked. If you want to come in, you have to ring a bell. We have to come up, and if we like the look of you, we let you in. That's about it.
There's a trap door. I think that is what I'm hearing from so many people. Like, COVID allowed them to shut the door and actually just get on with stuff.
Yeah,
because it doesn't just distract you for the 5 minutes you're talking to the person. It's like you have to get back into your whole system.
But that's without coming across like a bit of a prick. It's the time you waste with people. You see, we're in an awkward kind of spot as well, where we started out really, really small. We started out with a plotter and a heat press, and that was it. So 1s and 2s, hens and stags, names on jerseys were our bread and butter. It was all day, every day. Like, we used to like work out how many jerseys we had to print a day to break even and that kind of thing. And it was that was grand. But we're a completely different business now. But we still have the shop front. Which leads people to believe that we're still into that business and we want that business. Now, like, don't get me wrong, 20 quid or 15 quid for printing a football jersey, it takes you 10 minutes is grand. But like, just to jump off the press or to pull somebody off a run to do that, it's not viable. So it's either hire more bodies and have somebody just dedicated to vinyls and small orders, or do kind of what we've done now and lock the door and lock the door.
They go away.
Yeah, but like, we still do it. We still do a lot of small work. but it's not our favorite thing to do.
Yeah, I completely hear that. Like, I actually did take on 2 orders today, which is, we're not taking on anyone new at all, but I knew both of those customers were a 1 email thing.
Okay.
And it was just like,
Just one
here
and
it
done.
is. Yeah, 1 and done. Like, I did it for them in a couple of days. They were both under pressure, and I just gave it to them, sent it out, single color, piece of cake.
Yeah.
And we've got like a long-term business relationship where they're like saying, is this something that you want to do? Is this okay to
Low volume, like vinyl work, or?
No, screen print. So like not that crazy low, but just above the threshold of what we were like. Maybe like one of them was like a 50 and one of them was like only like 15, which is below our threshold, but she's our friend. So
yeah,
I understand what you mean.
it's the vinyl work that
tricky.
kills us. It's the volume of vinyl work that we get, like hen nights, stag nights. You see, we're blessed in a way. We're probably one of the only printers around, so you kind of have to look after the small work as well. But I think people are kind of getting the message. We're recommending other printers, smaller printers, if we can't do the job. And like, we haven't formally said, okay, here's our minimum, because if somebody walks in and is like, they want a t-shirt that says happy birthday dad, we're not gonna be like, you need 12 dads.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like 12 fathers
Yeah.
or leave, you know, we can't do that. So we still cater to that. But like, my wife looks after a lot of the small stuff. She has her own kind of side business that she runs out of here. It's predominantly baby clothes, but she will handle smaller orders and 1s and 2s and that kind of stuff as well. I'm just not good with people.
Shut that flat out. That's hilarious.
Like, I'm fine. Like,
do you feel insincere when you're chatting to people who aren't your friends? Like,
not really, no. Like, it's grand to a degree, but when it's just someone kicking tires, or I don't mind chatting to people, like, sorry, I should say, I'm not
all people. I understand.
I'm not good with people in here. Outside is fine. Do you know what I mean? You can just talk shit or whatever, but when it's somebody that's just coming in, and like even to the right of me here now, there's 4 pieces that a guy wants embroidery on. There's 12 pieces that are just like mixed polos, mixed high-vis vest, 2 jackets, and they were dropped in like a week ago, and they haven't moved because it's just not worth it. Do you know, like, for the money you're going to get back for like front left black print, you're going to get like a €5 or €6 or €7 for it, and the time it's going to take you to sit down, weed it, press it, it's not worth it. So
how do you feel like you've grown into these bigger jobs that are like taking more of your time now? Like, what are those sectors that are keeping you busy?
It's kind of, we work for a couple of marketing companies at the minute. That's kind of tumultuous in itself, because that's kind of very quick turnaround. Do you know what I mean? It's a big rush up until the event, and then the event is done, and then it's over the line. It's not the kind of work that we like doing or taking on. We're usually a 10 to 15 day turnaround. We'll turn around jobs quicker if needs be. But I mean, like, we had a guy come in today looking for a stag for 15 people for this evening, and it's laughable. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost as if people feel that you're sitting waiting for the work to come in.
Yeah.
But some days you are. Some days you're looking out the front door like, I wonder who needs t-shirts printed today, you know? But it's not all the time. But we've definitely we've kind of carved out a small bit of a niche. We do a lot for like the motorsport community in like across Ireland. So it would be, we used to sponsor a car in a drift series a few years ago. We were trying to get our foot in the door with the guys who ran that series, and I mean, it took a few years. They were getting stuff from a printer in the UK, and now obviously it's very difficult to import stuff from the UK. So they've moved production here, but they seem to have ramped up production, and off the back of us printing merch for them, we print for other teams and drivers, and like even the track that they host their events that we print for them. And it's kind of a bit of a knock on there. We don't generally tend to hunt much work. Only Only, well, during COVID, I suppose we did. During the lockdown, we did. But we had the advantage of, we had a contract customer during lockdown as well. And it was all PPE and safety gear.
Yeah,
So
I know,
that
that's
tided us
brilliant.
over for 2 years. But if I see another mask or another fucking vest again, Jesus Christ. So thankfully he's actually kind of tapered off a little bit in terms of print as well. So it's not too bad. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of grown into just larger orders just through, I don't know, I think it's just time.
Reputation.
I think just time. I think it just took time. I was always hunting. I was never happy with the size of the order that I had, or how many colors was in it, or the garment that was going on. I was always trying to push and push and push for higher numbers, higher colors, better designs, and I think just stubbornness. I think, you know what I mean? Like you could print shit all day.
Yeah, you can.
Work all day, but it's not worth it. So we turn down quite a bit of work when we don't need it, especially just like high vis vests and stuff like that. Like it's not, if that's all you do, that's all you're going to do. You know, so
you might as well be called safety print or something.
Yeah, it's just I think just throughout time, just over time, we've kind of developed a bit of a name. We do good work. We're not afraid to say we do good work. We're very pedantic about it. We're definitely not the cheapest printer around, but we're not trying to be the cheapest printer around either.
Yeah.
If you start that shit, I mean, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time before your doors are closed. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And there's lads out there. There's lads out there willing to do it. There's lads out there willing to print for nothing to get the job over the line. And admittedly, so that was me for a couple of years, trying to get in with tattoo artists, or trying to get in with a band or something like that. And we did, and we took we took on quite a lot of cool work during lockdown, and that's kind of followed on. But when you look back at some of the pricing, you're like, making €1 a shirt.
Yeah, because would you have to like keep that pricing now, even though it's kind of better for you now?
But like we have clients emailing us in there every day with invoices from 2019. We're just looking to repeat the order, and 2018 we're looking to repeat the order, and you're like, no problem, here's the invoice, and they're surprised that it's dear.
Yeah.
You know
it's
what
like,
I mean?
What a can of Coke costs like well over £1 now. It's probably £1.50. I don't know.
I bought a Ben and Jerry's ice pop and a bottle of Coke for my wife on the way home yesterday, and it was $5.50. And people are giving out to me about the price of t-shirts.
Yeah, so you put your hand in, you're like, yeah, I've got a £5. This will definitely be fine.
This will cover it.
Like, I've got to go back in.
Back out to the van. Yeah, no, but like we've loads of people like that, but we found that the uptake, we haven't really needed to tell anyone that we've increased our prices. Everyone's fairly clued in. Do you know what I mean? They know, like, just there are certain people who are like, wow, why is this dearer? And you can't say to them, oh, well, the white ink that I use is now twice the price, or it's coming in from the States. €1 was worth $1 now, which is mad, you know? So, but yeah, I don't know. We will probably hit another price increase. I think maybe all garments are going up now in July, like, so we'll probably hit a small increase again, maybe August time or something, and just see.
Yeah. Is that your kind of role in the business, like looking at the pricing, or do you say like you work with your wife? Is it wife or partner, or?
No, my wife. Yeah.
Gina.
No, so I'm like the lad with the big drum on his back and the symbol on his head, the symbol at the front.
I know exactly what you mean. I hope other people know that that's a marching band reference.
Yeah. yeah, stamping on the floor for the symbol. No, there's definitely a role here at the minute for office staff, for sure. I am too much of a micromanager probably to let somebody in and price the work, because the second somebody prices something wrong, or I feel like I'm not getting enough out of the order, I'll fucking lose the plot. You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
You know, if a job comes in and it's like priced at, like, let's say cotton t-shirts, black print heather gray shirt, and then all of a sudden the order changes to like dry fit polyester polos and it's a poly white ink, and you're losing money then. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. That's on me. That's my fault for not having like a firm kind of pricing structure. I'll price the jobs as they come in.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I'll price them as they come in. A lot of the customers are repeat customers, so they know, they'll just say, look, can we repeat this, or do you know what I mean? Can we get a reorder? And that's fine. But yeah, new orders I like to price to myself. And then yeah, so I'll do pricing, I'll do invoicing, print it, ship it, put a sticker in the box, send
But
it away.
surely there's going to be a bit where like either you burn out or you just hit like a wall where you could be taking on so much more if you were on press for longer. Like,
yeah, that was a bit. That point was about 6 months ago.
All right.
yeah.
So
No,
if I was to talk to you next year, you might have someone.
We have. So we had like a 600 foot kind of 600 square foot showroom here at the front. It's now, you can probably see it's dark in here now. We put blinds up. We've closed the blinds. We have an office now, kind of at the back. So whenever the office is finished, we probably will need to put somebody in, because accounting is another huge one as well. I'm brutal when it comes to invoicing and following up invoices and stuff like that. And before you know it, like, you're owed thousands, and then the person might want to reorder and they feel like they can't come back to you because they haven't paid their previous bill, and then
they should film that.
No, but I mean, they let's say I haven't invoiced them.
Oh, right.
They need to reorder stock. They feel awkward then because they're coming back saying, "Oh, I never paid you for this, but can I order more?" And then, you know, so I'm admittedly, I do all the office work, but badly, very badly. There's definitely room for someone in there.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, like Gina would like to come in maybe and do a bit of time in the office, price work and phone and stuff. We have 3 kids though, and that's like 2 full-time jobs. So
yeah,
it's difficult. They are getting, like, we have a 12-year-old, 7-year-old, and now coming up to a 3-year-old, and it's getting a little bit easier. The 2.5-year-old will be starting play school now, so it'll free her up a little bit more. But again, like that, it's a full-time job.
Yeah, you could, all that time can just be eaten up just rallying them around and organizing stuff. Like,
yeah,
I imagine
they're in here half the time. They're in, you know what I mean?
Under the flash.
They're getting they're getting kind of just close enough to be able to catch and fold and stuff like that. Yeah. So making sure they're getting experience early on. But there's definitely, but like there's 2 of us in production at the minute, and that's not enough. But trying to get somebody in to work well is not really doable at the minute. Like, we've got plenty of applications for positions and work and stuff, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm terribly particular to a fault, and I would need somebody to come in maybe under me for like the guts of a year before you're going to give them like an old wooden squeegee and a white t-shirt and black ink. Do you know what I mean? So we don't have the time for somebody under our feet at the minute as well, because it's just go. But there's definitely, like, myself, and then there's Keith. We'll both run the manual, we'll both run the auto, but there comes a point where, like, we're answering the phones, we're dealing with somebody out the front.
But like, who trained Keith, or like, how did Keith?
Keith's in under me. So Keith was a digital printer for maybe 10 years. So we did signage and all that kind of stuff. And then sparked an interest. He actually, in our original shop, tried to get a job 10 years ago. Didn't even know it was him. And then just through a guy who used to work here, he got in. He just got a foot in the door and went from part-time really quickly to full-time. He's mad into print as well. He's mad into the process. He enjoys every aspect of it. Maybe not the pressure and the stress, but that kind of comes with it. But learning the process, he's definitely well into it. So you kind of need somebody with a keen eye and a bit of an interest in it. It's not something that, like, it's like somebody going to do carpentry or something. You have to be into it. You have to have some kind of interest in it.
That's a really good parallel, actually. Yeah, because carpentry isn't joining, so it's different. It's not just whacking a wall up a petition and then you know it's going to get covered over by some plyboard or something.
Well, that's it. It is a trade in itself. Like, but like Keith's in like, maybe I'm terrible with time. I'd say a year at least before COVID, at least a year, maybe 3 or 4 years here, and still learning the same way as I would still be learning processes of things. Like, we got the automatic there at Christmas time.
Cool.
And Jesus Christ.
What are the learning things for this? Because like, if you're so close to, and you're still running the manual, like what are the things that were the most difficult features of learning
the automatic?
Yeah.
Everything. Everything. Turning it on.
You've got really good timing on your.
Jesus Christ. Everything. It was just like that. We had, like, it was terrible. Like, when you look back at it now, it was terrible what I did. I had a massive order on that was shipping out to a drinks company in New York. And it was 1,000 pieces.
In New York? You're getting work from New York?
Yeah, it was weird. I was going to send it over to Dylan and upstate. I was just like, you print it, it's your problem.
Oh.
Because there was shipping delays here. It was through a drinks company locally, and they were exporting their whiskey. What they were doing was they were doing like a pack with the whiskey, so you get a t-shirt and you get whatever, but they had a kicker on our price, so they didn't want me to farm the work out. They needed to make their portion on the t-shirt as well, so they wanted to print it here and ship it in the container with whiskey. So I was waiting for the press to install, and I had this job sitting, and there was like maybe a window of 2 weeks where we had to print it after the press was installed, that I had to ship to New York. And it was 4 color discharge base, gold, glitter gold top, discharge back with a glitter gold top on the back, and a third discharge red on the bottom of it. Now, right, we printed it.
A third discharge red on the bottom. It was
discharge white on the back. So we discharged base, right, for the metallic gold. Yeah. Discharge white for the main bulk of the text that was in the middle of it. And then there was a tiny hashtag that was in discharge red. So we had to go
first auto job.
First on the auto, yeah, but we had printed it on the manual. It had just taken like 8 years to print, because it was so many colors in the front, so many colors in the back, and the discharge is drying up, and it was just difficult. But we ran it on the auto, and we ran the first 10, and it came out great. We were like, Jesus, this is going to fly. So we like turned it up to 11, and it just, oh my God, it was like a fire in a hospital. It was just carnage. The ink started pushing through the tape. The reg mark started to blow out the tape on the back. The backs of the screens completely covered with condensation. And like, basically,
they're so hot. They just,
it was insane. So it was,
I've never heard that.
It was condensing the, I'm not experienced with doing discharge on an automatic press, and to be honest, I haven't done it since. But it was evaporating, I think, the moisture in the discharge, but it was, the back of the screen was wet. So every time we would lay a print onto the shirt, you'd get the print all right, but you would have this ghosted condensation all over the shirt.
Gone and then again.
You wouldn't see it. You see, it was like clear, right? So there was no color to it. It was just like clear water. And then we put the shirts down to dryer, and then you've just got this big square of discharge, just white cotton. But you don't know until you've put 10 around and you've put 10 down dryer. So there's 20 shirts. Fuck. Yeah.
And then you got to figure out how to stop it happening for the rest of the day.
Oh, you just walk away.
Yeah, just vomit in a bucket and then come back.
Just turn everything off and walk away, and then come back. It was just carnage. It was just, and then it's all like, it's heat management mainly with the press. If you flash your plastisols for too long, they start to get tacky. if you're printing wet on wet, that ink then sticks to the back of the screen. But these were things we didn't know until the last garment came around to us and you had 10 pieces done. And then you're just backtracking, okay, how many can we save here? And it was taking hours and hours to set up a job and get a job right before you'd be happy with it. And then even deposits of ink, like we were getting shit whites on the same screens that we'd be, the same screen, same ink that we'd be using on the manual, and you'd be getting a shit level of coverage, but it was so much more controllable because it was on the O, so it made no sense. And we had like 1 day training with the guy who installed it, and I mean, it was.
And they just show the easy shit, and then they're like, yeah, you can just do that, and you're like, yeah, but how?
He put a white. He put this white down on a Gildan heavy blend hoodie, and it was like the best white I've ever seen. I was like, right, okay, this is easy. And then he left, and then we tried to do it, and the hoodie stuck to the back of the screen. It dragged around the press, got stuck to the flash. It was fire. It was just. And I mean, like even now, like when we're running high volume stuff, like one of our customers uses build your brand hoodies. They're like 20 quid a go.
20 quid, yeah.
And if you have 10 up on the press and you've got something slightly out of reg before it comes around to you, it's 200 quid.
Yeah,
I've thrown many 200 quids at it, like, you know, but it was a very, very steep learning curve. And what kind of annoyed me the most about the process was you would be so far into a job where it wasn't running right, where you could have had that on the manual, printed, boxed and shipped. But just like I said, like pure stubbornness, I was like, no, we're going to get this right. We're going to ruin every blank garment we have in the place, but we're going to get it right. But like it's running smooth now. Like the job we did today was grand, it ran fine. But when we first got it, it was just insane. It was like something. It was like something from a Dr. Seuss book.
And that's when you've got all this experience on the manual. It's not like you're coming into this blind and you don't understand what happens when.
No, we thought we were shit hot. We thought we just put a shirt on, turn the dryer on, starts out here, finishes up there, and Picasso, it's done. But no, it was far from it. And like even now, like we had one order there a few weeks ago, and we were here printing until like 5 o'clock in the morning the day of the event, just trying to get. But it was a 3-color front and a 4-color back. We just couldn't get it to run right on the automatic. And there's so many times I was like, let's put it on the manual. I was like, no, we'll do it one more. We'd send another rotation around, and it'd get slightly better, and then we'd send it into print, and it might get slightly worse. But stubbornness, like, I think is
tricky, but I think you have to be a bit stubborn, because I actually think your artworking and stuff seems like another level up. Like, is it just like you're managing to achieve really nice halftones, or like what? Because you're doing a lot of like up close photography of it. I feel like that's one of your strong points, and maybe why the motorsport people like you.
Yeah,
they always have like multicolored stuff, don't they?
We've a lot of high color, high volume stuff. But it's kind of down to separations. We use John in Custom Colors. Right. He does all our separations for us. And I mean, can't pass him. His work is insane. There's no point in us trying to put a good print down if we've got a shit screen. And there's what kind of
things do you tell him? Like, do you say, I want an underbase under this, or do you just kind of like let him say his opinion? We kind of experience,
like, he knows his job inside out. There's no point in you trying to direct him to do what he does. If there's ever an issue with a screen or a separation or anything, it's picked up straight away. You've got a revised file, you've got a revised screen, and there's never an issue. It might just be something's half-toned where it shouldn't be half-toned, or we need a stronger base. But like, you can give him whatever direction you want. But if you just send him a file and said, I need this separated, I've got a 6-color manual, I'm using one flash, he'll send you back instructions as to how to print it. The best process is to go and a good set of separations.
Wow.
Like, there's no point. like I tried doing separations in Separation Studio and stuff like that before, and I just found merging the colors, it was a little bit washy, I found, unless it's a spot color and it's like bang, 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 base, 3 spot colors, and maybe a choppy halftone. It wasn't really to the standards of what we get back off him. But like we've four jobs on at the minute. 3 of them are 8 color, and that's the bare minimum he would be able to pull out of it. Like we've only got an 8 color automatic as well, so what we're having to do is put it in revolver mode and do
just cool it down. Do you mean, or like
no? It's like what we'll do is we'll take our flash and we'll put our flash in our offload position.
Right.
Okay, so you can set your press up to do it. It's basically like printing manually, but you're just the press is doing it in a couple of revolutions. So let's say manually, you print your base, you'll flash your base, and then that shirt will come back around to you, and you might do 2 colors wet and wet, and then you'll flash again, and then you'll do your top white or whatever. With revolver on the press, the way we're using it anyway, we'll print our base, we'll flash it, and then we might do 6 colors wet and wet, and then flash that. And then the last revolution, we'll do a highlight white or a black shadow or whatever it needs.
Really, you're using it like a 12 color, but you just like, yeah, that's clever.
We'd be using it like a true 8 color, but we would have like the press technically it's 8 color, but we run 2 flashes in a roller. So we've got 1 color, flash, roll, and then 3 more colors in a flash, and then 2. So like we only ever really run, if we're running 2 flashes, the most we can do is a 5 color. But these jobs that are coming up now are 8 color. So we have to pull all the rollers out, all the flashes out, and we take them out of, like we just put the flash in our offload position, and then do on the first rotation, just the base white. The second rotation would be all the colors, and then the third rotation would be the top white.
Right.
So it takes 3 times as long to do the job, but you're getting a much better finish. Like we don't have the option to do anything else. If it's an 8 color, we can't we've no other option. We just have to load up each head and then send it around a few times. It takes 3 times as long, but like you're getting a much better result. But we could, if we use Separation Studio, you could merge maybe some of the colors and stuff like that and use it as a 6 color, but it's a little bit washy. I find it a bit washy.
I wanted to ask, like, what is your kind of pricing? Because when I do like 1 color, 2 color, 3 color, I just add like maybe £1 every single color. When you get into like 8 colors, how are these people paying? Like, do you do bands of colors, or do you say as many colors as you want, one price, like over 5 colors?
So what we'll do is we kind of build so the separations obviously cost money. We build that in. We build the screen setup in with it. Like we'll charge them a screen setup as opposed to charging per color. So it's kind of like it's difficult because it tiers with the size of the order as well. So like we won't touch an 8 color on anything less than 200 pieces because it's not worth it, because that way we're able to build in the cost of the separations and the cost of the setup. So like if you look at our pricing matrix, like a 1 color, let's say, could cost you €1, okay, depending on the setup and on the volume of the order. An 8 color might only cost you $1.85.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
that's
you know what I mean. It's totally different. But if we're printing like if we're doing oversized prints or jumbo prints on the manual, you're definitely talking like €2 per color there. Do you know what I mean? Because it's going to be a much smaller order. It's going to be 20 to 50 pieces maybe, and then you're going to, like, it's not worth it to charge only 8% more there because you're not making money.
Yeah.
So we kind of like that this is what I was saying about the pricing, and me not kind of wanting to let go of the pricing is because I just think I'd be able to look at a job and say, okay, it's going to be a 6 color, it's going to be 250 pieces, it's going to be like 185, 195 for the print, whatever for the garment, but it has to be 200 pieces or 300 pieces, because as it tiers down, we'll only do 3 colors on up to 3 colors, 50 pieces. 4 colors, you're talking 100 pieces. and it tiers up that way. Do you know what I mean? Because we try and build in the screen setup cost, depending on the size of the screen, and if we have to do like mad separations, you could be paying like say 30 quid for your screen setup, but that's just built into the overall cost. Your print cost is pittance, really.
Yeah.
You know? But that's only since we got the automatic.
Yes, this is what I'm thinking. It's like it's blowing my mind because mine is so different. Like we're so polarized on the scale of how I price and you price. So it's like, yeah, it does make sense if it's an auto, because I'm just thinking like the 6 color. I put myself in the position of printing it, and I know it's laborious and difficult.
Yeah.
But
I'll give you a good example, right? We had a huge order on 4 weeks ago. It was the one that we stayed up all night printing, and we couldn't get it to work on the automatic, and I had to print it manually, and it was 240 BYB hoods, 3-color front. We got that to work on the auto fine, but heat management, we couldn't control the heat of the BYB hoodies because there was a polyester blend in them. So we needed to
I think they put silicone on as well, by the way. Sorry.
On the hoodie. Like a coating.
Yeah. They do it on the Stanley Stella hoodies as well. There's like a bastardy silicone-ness to the content in the hoodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does that affect the print?
It's to do with that heating that you're talking about. There's also this one garment from Stanley Stella, and it's called a Shifts Dry, and you can't get Plastel to cure on it. You can't get like the flash to actually just not become. You can't get it to heat.
Yeah, like the heat management thing with the BYB. The problem is the garment's picking up too much heat, and it's contracting. The polyester element of it, the cotton will do whatever it wants to do, it'll stay there. But the polyester is picking up so much heat. I mean, like if you put like a cool t-shirt, like a technical t-shirt underneath a flash for too long, it just goes to shit. So since we got the red chili flash, and that just like it blasts heat for like 3 seconds, but the ink will get too tacky if it heats up for too long, and then when it goes on to the next screen, as it's almost like the ink is wet, so it over flashes and it gets sticky. But if you don't flash it for long enough, it's wet.
Still wet.
And there's a sweet spot where obviously it's dry, where we lower the power output of the flash a little bit and increase the time. But in doing that, increasing the time that the garment is underneath the flash is melting, it's contracting, and it's pulling your print out of edge. So we had a 6-color back on those hoods, and it was all sponsors. It was sponsors with very particular Pantones, scales, how far they can be away from each other, and different logos and stuff.
Yeah.
And we could not control the heat at all. Even like we had set dwell times where it would print and it would flash and it would dwell for like 20 seconds, and then it would go to the next screen and it would print it, and then you'd hear this massive pop, and it was the hoodie sticking to the back of the screen and pulling the hoodie back up. No matter what we did, we didn't have the option to have a cool down station because it was 6 colors and we were running 2 flashes, so we had to pull it off and print it manually, and it took me 20 hours.
Bloody hell. Do you think any of it was, I know you're talking about the polyester, but do you think any of it was like moisture in the garment that you'd like try and expel beforehand?
That's another big one here. Our store is like where we store our garments when they come in is right at the back of the building, and it's cold and it's damp and it's a concrete floor. So if the garments sit there for too long, before we print them, they'll have to go down the dryer. And when they go down the dryer, it's like a sauna. It's just steam on steam on steam, and then we'll print them, or we'll send them around. We'll send them around the press once and put the 2 flashes on and preheat them. But then you're just adding time. Do you know what I mean? Then it's just time management is key as well. So you can't kind of that job, just everything that could have went wrong with that one. It was just one of those. It was never going to go right. So it
Yeah.
was just a case of standing there, and like the thing as well is the manual has way better micros than the automatic.
Really?
Way better. Like it's a country mile in the difference. Like you turn the micros on the automatic and nothing happens.
Really?
It's like an old, like old cars with no power steering, and you can do like nothing happens. It's exactly like that. And then the manual, we have a Thunder, and it's like the registration is insane on it.
Is that the Anatol Thunder?
Yeah, it's the Anatol Thunder. We got that October 2 years ago. Can't fault it. It's an army tank of a press, like, but it's just the micros on it are micro adjustments. And then the M&R Diamondback that we have is, I mean, she's an old girl. Do you know?
Did you get her second? It sounds like you got her second hand.
Yeah. She was going out to pastures greener, I think, before we bought her. No, it's printed.
You're like, she's got some years in her.
Yeah, you're all right. You're okay. But like, high color stuff. Like, we have a job on tomorrow. It's a simulated process job. It's 8 colors. And just the thoughts of trying to register that now tomorrow. Like, we're thinking about maybe getting some sort of registration system, but even at that, I mean, how accurate can the pin bar be on an 8 color job and that kind of thing? Like, you really need a CTS.
Are you? Yeah, I was about to say CTS. Are you registering it on the film, on the pattern then, like just like a manual? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's grand. We'll roughly register it on the exposure unit. We're not using any kind of pre-reg. We don't have any pre-reg kind of system at the minute. I was going to get the what's the Anatol one? ARM, I think it's called. It's got a pre-reg. It's like the Rock. It's got that little laser system where you put the films down and stuff like that. But like, at the same time, you're sticking it on with sellotape. So and then you're putting it on your exposure unit, and it might shift or it might move, and so, but they're thousands of euro. So I think maybe the most sensible thing would be a CTS, but I don't think we're doing high enough volume for CTS at the minute.
The thing I've seen with my like Canadian friends, especially with their CTS machines, is that don't get rid of your exposure unit for a few years, because if the CTS goes down, it's like you can't do anything, and everyone's just staring at the back of your head waiting for it.
Aren't the CTS though? They don't expose; they just print the wax. Yeah,
I know, but you have to. Yeah, it's that wax printer. That's what I mean. But when that thing goes, but don't get rid of your like films.
Oh, your film print. Yeah. No, we have like the film printer that we have is like, it's an old Epson. It's grand. I actually only when you messaged me on Instagram, I seen that I was looking to buy an Epson off you like 15 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, hi, do you sell Accurate? Do you have a printer? Help me, please. Because we were printing acetates on a toner printer here for a while, and jigsawing them together on A4s. Like, so if you had like a multicolored job, you're jigsawing.
That's stressful. You're just stressing me out by saying that. Like, poor bastard, taping together toner positives.
So you had to A4 your toner acetates, and because it wasn't dense enough, you'd have to double that up. So if you had like a big job, it was 4 acetates plus 4 acetates on top, then burn that, and then try and register it on a Riley Hopkins joystick.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Torture.
But I've literally just done a video on YouTube, and I've told them everything, because I get so many questions. I get a question every single day: what is your Epson printer? I'm like, you don't want to run this huge massive printer, but here you go.
It's the 3270, is it?
No, it's the T7200. But I even showed people how to fill the ink cartridges and how to like get the air out of the cartridges and like everything. So I can just like copy paste the video and say,
send it away. That's a big printer.
It is a big printer, but I service like people who do fabric printing, like on huge tables.
Oh, right, like wallpaper and that kind of thing, and pattern printing.
Yeah, and it's also just handy because we are like technically fine art printers as well. That's
You?
like where we came. Yeah, we do fine art print. That's where we started.
That's very
So,
highfalutin.
sorry,
That's very
highfalutin.
highfalutin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine art printing
Mm.
on paper,
Um,
like on heavy stock paper and card and stuff.
mm.
Oh,
And like flatbed plastics and things. So we need much bigger prints to be able to like do that because the screens are enormous.
yeah.
So yeah,
What's the biggest screen then you use?
it's like over A0. I think I can do 1.6 by a meter, but I have made and exposed my own handmade screens much bigger.
Oh,
than
so
that.
you're printing on a flatbed then?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting a flatbed printer.
I think, yeah, because you're saying that you, at the very beginning, you said mainly textiles, but like, yeah, if you do flatbed work and are you doing like paper stock or like what is
No,
that?
it would be
It's
it'd
not
be
textiles.
few and far between. Yeah, we've done it before. We printed all our own wedding invites and
Oh, nice.
RSVPs and all that kind of stuff, and did all that. But yeah, it's not really worth it unless you're getting into kind of bigger kind of stuff. Nobody wants like a small A4
No.
size little shit print.
Mm,
They're very
yeah.
expensive though. We were looking at them even second hand, and they're wicked money.
There is a guy and he's called SurePrint, and I'm saying it slowly because like it's difficult to get his stuff off him because I feel like he's not like pushing it, but when you get his stuff, it's really good.
Equipment,
So
like
so I like you get them. He basically just builds them custom. So I got like 3 flatbeds and my exposure unit and my washout off him initially.
oh.
And they are bloody amazing machines, and they're not
Because
that
I mean, if you
crazy.
go and you look at a Kipax or something like that, they're thousands and thousands
Nah,
and thousands of euro.
nah, get a SurePrint, but also know that it's going to take a while to come.
Yeah, I don't think it's something we'd even entertain at the minute. We
You've
bought
probably
an
got enough
embroidery
on.
machine. Yeah, we bought an embroidery machine a while back, and it was the worst thing I've ever done. Jesus Christ!
Have you
Why?
got time, by the way? Because I know you're up against it with. Can you
No,
keep
I'm
going?
all right. I'm all right. We're finished
Awesome.
now. We're finished now. We're all right for the
Tell
minute.
me about this horror story with the embroidery machine, because this is hilarious. You're so honest about it.
This is like goosebumps. It's like fucking scary bedtime stories. We used to do contract printing for a major sports manufacturer. They're only down the road from us here. They do football kits and stuff, and embroidery and sublimation on jerseys and stuff. We used to do a bit of contract printing for bags and all that kind of stuff. And it was grand. So he owed us a ball of money at one stage, and he was like, "Oh, I've got this 6-head, 15-color embroidery machine.
Nice.
Getting rid of it.
6 head. That's massive, isn't it?
Do you want it? Yeah, yeah, it was huge. But sure, like he brought me down one day and everything. And we ran a job on it, and I shadowed the girl that was doing the job, and she was like, I think she was a Moldovan girl, very little kind of English, but she was able to show me the basics and putting a hoop on and putting a jacket on. And we did a 50 or 60 piece order in no time. It was great. And she was living in Navan and had intended on coming to work for us for a little while or do some of the work while the machine was here. So I took the machine off him, and I also took a big, like a massive flatbed heat press, huge, like a roller one. You can put like an 8x4 into it. So they were sublimating football jerseys by the roll and in that. And I thought, oh, I'm going to start doing all over prints, like on t-shirts, on like white t-shirts. Didn't realize I had to buy a massive sublimation printer to make the print. So that's that out the back store for a while. But the embroidery machine, one of the conditions was we'd have somebody to operate it, and also the guy who was installing his new machine would come to our building, service the machine, run a few jobs on it, and basically train us in. So I don't want to sound bad. The guy who came with his machine came from China. So the guy who was installing the machine was Chinese. and he had zero English, zero. So the training that we were going to get, like, I have photos on my phone of like when I was Google translating them questions. It's like, am I in your way? It's like,
Am I in your way?
like,
Is this too close? Can you feel my breath on you?
do that thing again? I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
He came in, he serviced it, he serviced it, he had it running, he ran crests on it, and he basically, I was just using Google Translate to try and learn off him, and he was just kind of yes and no, was very, very limited. And then we were on our own. And then the girl who was supposed to come and work moved back to Moldova. She got pregnant and moved back to Moldova. So we tried to run one job on it, and it basically, it just ripped everything. There was like, I broke needles, the bobbins popped out of it, and
Bloody hell. I've never heard of that. The
little
bobbins self-ejected.
The little silver thing that was holding the bobbin,
Yeah.
just popped open, and the bobbin flew out the front of it.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, and neither have I, believe it or not.
Do you think that place is haunted and it's just like
There could be,
they're fucking with you?
There could be a ghost in it. No, but so we never used it. The bobbin, like all 6 little silver things at the front of the machine, I had just t-shirts on it that I was doing here, like just scrap t-shirts. It was like we hit a button and they just went poof, and everything flew out the front of it. The thread, the little silver thing, the needle came down and got stuck on the machine. All of the instructions were in Chinese. I have a book that thick of Chinese instructions, and sure, look, we just turned it off. Can
you just teach one of your kids Chinese now? Hothouse them, and then when they're 16-ish.
Imagine I taught them Chinese and it was like
just to run the
it was the wrong language.
This is Cantonese, Dad.
Yeah. It was Mandarin.
Yeah.
So no, we turned it off and used it as an ink mixing table for a while.
Did you pay for this machine? You did? No.
He owed us some money, and then I owed him some money for the machine, so we did pay for it. And then I sold it to a guy during lockdown for a 10th of what I paid for it. But he came, he took it, and he left, and that was it.
He didn't pay.
There was no like, how does this work?
Oh.
Can you show me something? I couldn't even turn it on. I couldn't turn it on when he came. We had the 3-phase power was disconnected from it. There was nothing happening. And he talked a big talk. He was going to do this, he was going to do that. He owned a car garage down like the far side of the country. And I was like, great, grand, no bother. My father has a haulage company with a high ab crane. So he got a bit of work out of it. He came, picked up we dragged it out of the building. Like, our door was just like a normal double door. This thing had to be dragged out the back, up onto the truck, and fired halfway down the country. And it was great. It was just.
Wouldn't you like to see like an inside view of what they managed to? Because they're not like running that smooth. It just doesn't seem possible.
No.
But don't you want to like see what happened when they got it home and they tried to figure it out?
No.
It's like a horrible documentary. It's like Big Brother, but worse.
I've written the memory of that machine. Just, it's gone.
Okay.
I had a guy in here the other day. We don't do any embroidery here at all. We do some contract embroidery. And I had a guy in here the other day, and he's an embroiderer, and he dropped in embroidery here. And I was like, oh, look, we don't do it here. We contract it out. It's going to be a few days. He's like, right, grand. And I said, do you not have a machine? And he was like, oh, I do, yeah. He was like, but I spent 13 hours doing 5 crests for this archery thing or whatever it was. I was like, all right. I was like, I thought you had a big set. He's like, oh, I do. I have a 6-head machine. He bought the same machine.
No.
Not my one, the equivalent of it from the same guy. Your man's just buying the machines for like 10 grand in China, getting them, using them till they just give up, and then selling them to fucking idiots like me. And this fella out the road, your man out the road, who brought the embroidery in, he was like, oh, I bought it off. Like, he mentioned the man.
That's evil. That can bankrupt businesses.
Yeah, but this is what he
that should
said.
be
He was like,
stopped.
I bought it. He says, oh, I have a 6 head machine out there. It's in a garage out the road. I bought it off, and he mentioned the man's name, and I was like, oh, that fucker.
Yeah.
He's selling machines that. But the thing is, he's like, he'll get the work done. The guy that we bought the machine from, he'll get the work done no matter what. He's got people there that are used to the machines. We bought them with haven't seen them running, thinking, this is tickety boo. If they can do it, we can do it. But
That's evil.
yeah, Gina doesn't let me live that one down too much now.
Well, I don't think it's your fault. I think it was just a trap that keeps on trapping, because he's getting people. He doesn't mind getting people from other countries to come in, which isn't like a natural way to go,
when he buys new machines, when he buys, he might buy two new machines maybe every couple of years, and they fly the machines over, install them, and everything's running fine. And then when he gets new machines, those machines are just shipped off. And while the guy is here, he's installing them, like say in my building or whatever. There's no malice or there's no badness in it. It's just he has got the running of the machines. He knows them inside out. His operators know them inside out. And it looks very doable. And then you get the machine and you're like, where do you start? Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's kind of like that with screen printing, but then also it's not, because we've all there's a lot of different variety of people who have managed to screen print.
Yeah,
so
but I mean, like the screen printing thing,
mainly
like
down to you.
self-teaching, I think is the only way to go, unless you're coming in and shadowing somebody that's really experienced and really like a good printer. Like I got my first press 10 years ago, and it was a 4-color Hopkins, and I hadn't a clue what to do. Didn't know what off contact was, didn't know how to make screens. Like I had wooden screens, and they were like you put the screen in and it'd go up like that. You're trying to put a print on it, but like it's just, I think it's the heartache and the torture of having started out with that and then progressed. Like it took me years to buy another press or to move on, but like I don't think I'd go back.
Yeah.
No, do you know what I mean? That's done. Do you know what I mean? Like if we put in the kind of the torturous years, but they feel like they're back now with the automatic sometimes.
Yeah. It is funny. It's kind of like, why do we torture ourselves? It's like my mum asked me the other day, why do you keep getting tattoos? And I said, well, why did you have 7 kids? Because you must forget the pain of one of them, and then you just like know the fun bit that you enjoyed, so you just had another one. But you kind of forget the pain. But you forget the pain. You block that out with the embroidery machine and the nightmare first job. You just
but at least you can cuddle a baby. You can't cuddle a big embroidery machine.
That's true.
You can if you want to, but nobody can.
That's really funny. Can I like have a final thought from you about like what I want to ask you so much stuff, but I'm just going to say, like, what would be like your shop hack that you would pass on? That you think,
buckets of
what
water.
Are you doing?
Buckets of water. Shop hack.
Drinking, don't buy cups.
Shop hack. Exactly 1 liter of water. You know, it's 1 kilogram of water. Drink plenty of water. That is the shop hack. Use these as your bucket of water.
Vessels.
Yeah, absolutely. You know how much you've drank throughout the day, and you have a fancy you can carry it around.
Yeah.
So shop hack, Jesus, I don't know. Just fucking.
I like that one.
I don't know. I don't know if I have a shop hack. I don't know. Try not to deal with the general public. Shop hack 101.
Really love that.
Lock your front door. We have a bell. We have a bell on the door. Keep the door locked. Keep the people out.
Make the bell a buzzer that electrocutes them if they just a little short, sharp buzz.
We have buzzers all the way down, obviously when the press is running, so you can hear it. But I don't know whether they were plugged out or they stopped working, but down in the production space down the back, the buzzers are plugged out. They're not working.
That's really funny.
Someone's kicked the buzzer off the wall.
Okay, so Gar says stay hydrated and don't deal with the public. Love it.
For live a long and happy life.
Yeah.
Those 2 things.
Thank you. No, that's awesome. I really appreciate all your time as well. And I was pestering the shit out of you, but I had to.
That's all right. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll Instagram you, and I need your selfie. But yeah,
Oh, I don't
this
have
evening.
pictures of Jesus Christ.
You have to. You
Picture.
have to. Or I'll screenshot this and then.
I'll send you one of my old school photos. That's about the last picture I have.
Yeah, I like that.
myself.
If you have one, that would be hilarious. Let's
Yeah.
do that instead.
I get you to take one now. I'll do a few fancy poses.
Yeah, not too fancy because I just use your head and shoulders, by the way. But yeah.
Okay. Clothing
Okay.
optional.
Yes.
No worries.
Okay. All right. Cheers,
All right.
Garth.
See you.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.